As we bring our mini-series on the how of giving effective criticism to a close, I'd like to just share a few more insights that we can learn from Moshe Rabbeinu's rebuke to the Jewish people to employ when we have to give criticism to others. Number one is the importance of the words of our sages that we have to judge one another favorably. That means don't assume the worst in a person. Don't assume that they are doing something wrong, and certainly not deliberately so, but rather try and seek reasons that justify perhaps why they may acted in a certain way, or to see them as acting in a favorable light. Indeed, Moshe does this when he rebukes the Jewish people for the sin of the golden calf, which was the most severe of all of the sins the Jewish people committed in the desert. He alludes to this sin with the name Di Zahav, the place called Di Zahav, which Rashi brings from our sages can be read as Dai Zahav, sufficient or too much gold. And Moshe was saying to Hashem that who was the cause of the Jewish people sinning with the golden calf? It was the fact that you had given them all the gold when they left Mitzrayim, when they were not yet spiritually developed to the extent that they could abstain from sin. And therefore Moshe was trying to minimize the wrongdoing on the part of the Jewish people, even by laying the blame on Hashem himself. So Moshe was trying to be done as kol adam l'kav zchus, to judge the Jewish people favorably and not to magnify their involvement in the sin. A second point, the Orach Chaim HaKadosh explains that in the various terms that Moshe uses to refer to the sins of the Jewish people in the desert, there is also lessons of how they may improve their behavior. So, for example, the place Lavan, which was referring to the sin of complaining about the man, which was Lavan, which was white. White is also a color of purity. And the idea is that he was suggesting to them ways that they could improve their spiritual standing and lift themselves up. And the lesson for us is that instead of giving criticism, pointing the flaws of what someone is doing wrong, try and show them how to do things right. So instead of saying you're doing that wrong, say, perhaps we could try it this way, it might be better. That's a more palatable way of giving criticism. And finally, the Medrash tells us that after Moshe Rabbeinu rebuked the Jewish people, Hashem told him, now that you have rebuked the people, you need to give them a blessing. You need to give them a bracha. And Moshe indeed does so and says that Hashem, your God, should make you fruitful and numerous like the stars of the sky. And that's the importance of always ending up our conversations, our difficult conversations, on a positive note. That instead of the last taste in their mouth being the bitter words of criticism, no matter how well-intentioned or how constructive it may be, rather to finish off with something positive, to focus on a positive thing, to give a positive word of encouragement, and that way leave them with a sweet and pleasant interaction to go away with as they take home that message of the criticism, but they do so with the appreciation and understanding that you value them, that you respect them, and that you have praised them for all of their good as well as pointing out their negative